Okay, chapter 1, organizing themes and development. This is a lot of historical stuff, so you'll have the quizzes over that. Um, you're going to have some specific things that are goals about understanding things that should happen or things that happen to us as we age in different developmental life cycles and how that's studied. Uh, One of the things that this chapter talks about is the ability to take information that is researched and put it into application. And so you're going to see a lot of information on that as well. One of the things that I really like about this textbook is I like how it's laid out. Like on page 7, it gives you the timeline of Charles Darwin, Binet when he did the IQ exams, Piaget, Erickson, and it gives you like how people came into play and where Freud came in, Yuri Bronfenbrenner, and that allows you to assess kind of like how things develop themselves as far as theoretical perspectives. Some of the classical stage theories that are on this timeline are Freud, Erickson, and Piaget. So Freud, he really emphasized the unconscious part of our world and how we did things when we didn't really know why we did those. Whereas Erickson said that we went through different phases in our lives and we developed illnesses or struggles when we didn't go through them effectively. And Piaget, his was more focused on your cognitive development, whereas it was like at what stage should a child realize when you roll a ball under a couch that it's gone versus I can look under the couch and it's still there. I just can't see it. That's a cognitive developmental stage that a child has went through. And one of the things that both of these classic stage theorists believed is that we moved through these stages at different points in our life, whether it was for our psychosexual stage, our social development, or our cognitive development. So they talked about the belief that they theorized that we went through these as we got through different levels of maturity. One of the things that I really like about this textbook, again, is like if you'll look on pages starting at page 10 and 11 and 12, those three theories, they've got the models broke down for Freud, Erickson, and Piaget really good already for you. So instead of having to read all these paragraph forms, you've got these quick little cheat charts, which are really good to whether you screenshot them or you just take some time. But like on page 10, you've got the chart for Freud's sexual. On page 10, you've got the chart for Freud's psychosexual stages of development. So from birth to 1 year is the oral development, anal 1 to 3, phallic 3 to 5 or 6, latency 6 up to puberty, and then after that you've got from puberty to adulthood the genital stage. So basically what that means is that the first year of life everything is kind of felt in with the mouth because of the bottle sucking, the oral fixation. And then you go into like the potty training phase, and then the phallic stage is that's an age where a lot of young kids find out they have private parts and stuff. And then you've got the latency phase, which is kind of like at that age, a lot of times from 6 to puberty. That's where boys and girls play pretty equally. They don't really separate each other so much by gender. Those are kind of almost like a suppressed stage. They just want to play and have fun. And then you get into the genital stage, which where you're very much driven from puberty to adulthood by your hormones. Erickson stages are on page 11. You've got trust versus mistrust. When a baby cries, they learn or learn not to trust people when they cry, that they'll come. Then ages 1 to 3, you've got autonomy versus shame, which can cause some new development in the motor and mental skills, but can also cause self-doubt. And you'll see, like in the chart, if you look at it, like what the positive and negative outcome can be if we don't go through those successfully. So when you're looking at your own map, you can use these kind of things to kind of assess like how you feel that you came out through that. You've got initiative versus guilt, industry versus inferiority. So these go through all of these. Take time to look at these charts, because processing them yourself is going to be more beneficial to you than me just reading from the text for you. Think about it. You can really use this information for your own projects. And then you've got Piaget, which is a sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational stages, to where we cognitively can look at things differently as we go through each stage. And then that goes into the incremental models. And the incremental models are a little bit different. They are the learning theories, or how we learn, whether we learn through positive or negative reinforcement. Our information can be scaffolded. Once we learn one thing, we can learn other things on top of that. Operant conditioning, the whole, the behaviorists with the Skinner and the salivating dog, the baby that cried when they conditioned the baby to cry every time that they showed it a bunny because they made a loud noise. You want to look through here and be familiar with these terms: conditioned stimuli, modeling, negative reinforcements. One that you don't hear a whole lot about is Urie Bronfenbrenner. His was the micro, meso, and exosystems. So basically, it looks like a dartboard where you've got the middle part where the person is in the middle, and then they've got right on the outside of the realm, they've got those immediate things that they interact with, like their home, school, and peers. And then you've got things that are in their community, like we were talking about those historical events. That would go into like the broader micro systems, things that you can't control. And then also one of the things that Urie Bronfenbrenner talked about was time. And so he said when you're talking about clients and you're looking at all these different systems and how they're impacting your client, because you want to look at the client in a holistic view, then one of the things that you want to really process is not only where these events happened to them and how they happened to them, but at what age were they when they happened. So if you think about like losing a parent, like losing a mom, then you also have to think about, did that happen at 5, at 15, at 25, at 55? All those things make a difference because of the developmental level the person was when these events happened. Some of the other topics that the textbook talks about going into research is nature versus nurture. There's a lot of sides to everything where they all have some validity in different aspects. One of the controversies with nature versus nurture is where Dr. Money, after a botched circumcision, talked the mother of the Reimer twins into making one of her sons a female and using hormone replacement and never telling him about the surgery. And Dr. Money got a lot of solid factual research behind this, but by the time that it was found out that this child was severely depressed, had a lot of mental health issues, the research had already been like published and stuff. And what kind of happened with the Reimer twins is he was so unhappy that I think around the age of 10 or 12, somewhere in there, they finally told him what happened, and he immediately went back to being a boy. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that he had a lot of addiction issues and that he even ended up committing suicide. So again, there's research on everything, so be careful what you read. Take the time to read it fully and really look at all the different information. Neuroplasticity and critical sensitive periods. This talks about how our brains and neurons change and how that development happens internally. There are some major brain changes that goes on from birth to age of 2, and then there's some more brain expansion and trimming of neurons that happens in adolescence during puberty. And so understanding things that are going on in those critical periods for people is really important for a clinician to know. Examining our clients holistically also allows us to remember where they live and their culture and the impact of culture and their environment is also a critical factor to remember whenever we're working with anybody. When you are reading research and you're thinking about something to use for your clients, or you're thinking of things that you can do for the people that you're serving, you want to keep in mind about all the different theories. You don't want to be afraid to use theories that you're not used to. Maybe it's not working for the client that you're working with. Don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to use some eclectic type things and put more in your box. Always be abreast of the new information coming out. Monitor any type of cultural factors that are in play. There's a reason that we learn all these theories. It's to make us very broad and understand different views. There's not always just one way to see things, and understanding that people are changing constantly. We work with people and they have to be vulnerable with us. It's very important that we are open and we are looking at all the different developmental systems and where they are in the world and how the world looks to them. Things that impact all of us as we develop are our protective factors, the support system that we have. We all have risk factors. And then there's just variables that can influence how we develop relationships. There are different types of research done for different ways. You've got your primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention. Basically, the easiest way to remember these is primary prevention are the ones that are given to people more holistically, like Head Start, going to the gym for everybody goes to school and goes to the gym for these specific type interventions where everybody gets to hear the same thing. So everybody's included in a primary prevention, and its goal is to head off things in the future that we don't even have identified yet. Secondary prevention would be more of your risk factor type things like latchkey kids, after school programs for kids at risk. So the risk factors have already been identified, and so the population is more targeted for those type of preventions. Whereas the third level, tertiary, that is people that already have diagnosis, already getting treatment. So it could be outpatient, home-based services, school-based services, but it's a treatment that's already targeted toward that person's symptoms or diagnosis. And that is all of chapter 1. Like I said, I didn't go into a whole lot of detail. You're going to have to go back through for your paper, and you're going to have to go back through for your test too. So take some time and look at chapter 1, and we'll see you in chapter 2.